Welcome back to the Nourish with Regina podcast, where we talk about transforming your plate and transforming your life. If you're new here, I'm Regina. I'm a certified nutrition coach, a wife, mom of 4 adult children, and someone who is deeply passionate about sharing my knowledge with you about nutrition and nourishing your body, and knowing that that means so much more than the number on the scale. It really is about energy, strength, hormones, aging well, metabolism, confidence, healing, and how you actually feel inside your body every single day. And doing that in a way with your food, so it nourishes and supports your body and your journey and the things you need and the things you are doing. So today's episode, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people because there's a very good chance you are not eating enough protein. And I know we hear a lot about protein in fitness, make sure you're getting enough protein. This is high protein. Everything has protein added to it now. But protein is important. And even if you eat pretty healthy, even if you're trying to lose weight, even if you're working out, even if you've dieted for years, and honestly, just in my clients, this is one of the most nutrition gaps I see. So people track their calories, they track their fat intake, they focus on carbs or being low carb, they avoid sugar, they track their water, but many people never stop to ask, am I actually getting enough protein to support my body and what it's doing? And the answer, unfortunately, often is no. So today we're going to dig deep into why protein matters, how it impacts your metabolism, why it affects cravings and hunger, how it supports your hormones and healthy aging, why muscle matters so much, and what happens during fat loss. And we're going to see how this actually looks in real life and how you can make a few simple changes to up your protein intake for the day. So this is not just a fitness conversation, it's a foundational health conversation. So to be honest, for years, I barely thought about protein. I counted calories, I ate low carb, I ate low fat, I thought about the things I shouldn't eat and how little I could get away with eating. Protein was never really a part of the conversation. And if I had cereal for breakfast, a salad for lunch, maybe a healthy snack like an apple or something for a snack in the afternoon, and then a decent dinner, I thought I was doing great. I thought I was being healthy. But looking back now, I can see I was undernourished in one of the most important ways. And then something shifted. I love doing research, and so I started to learn about how metabolism works and how important our muscle function is as we age. And I started learning more about protein. So not gym culture protein, not bodybuilder protein, real human physiology. And when I intentionally started increasing my protein, I noticed a few things. Some even dramatic changes. I stayed fuller longer. So I didn't have that urge to snack. I didn't think about eating constantly. I had more energy. It was more stable. I didn't have the, 1 to 3 o'clock headaches. We used to joke, I got a headache every day at 3 p.m. And I called it my 3 o'clock headache. But now I realize it was a sugar crash. Meals felt more satisfying. I felt full and satiated after I ate. And my cravings really did calm down a lot. And this is where I really want you to lean in. Because many people think they have a discipline problem, a motivation problem, a willpower problem, when biologically, you just have a nourishment problem. And the hopeful thing is we can fix that, right? And it's a lot easier than you think it's going to be. So first I want to slow down here because I want you to really understand that protein is not just muscle food. It does help with muscle, but it also provides amino acids, which are the building block that your body uses for muscle tissue, enzymes, hormones, immune function, repairing damage. It helps your neurotransmitters, your hair, your skin, your nails. It helps your body repair on a cellular level. It's involved in almost every major system of your body. So when your protein intake is low, your body really does feel it. And it might not be a big flashing sign, but it could be more subtle. It might be an overtime kind of effect of hunger, recovery, slow energy. You see your body composition change a bit, your muscle retention, strength. So I want to explain something really important. So when you eat protein, your digestive system releases hormones to help regulate your appetite and your fullness. So research shows that protein stimulates hormones like GLP-1, which our body does make naturally, and a peptide YY. So these hormones are associated with being satiated. So while helping suppress ghrelin, which is your hunger hormones, it's the thing in your body that makes your stomach growl and makes you feel hungry. So the GLP-1 and the peptides YY that your body creates after eating protein help calm down that hunger hormone. So at the same time, your protein also slows gastric emptying, meaning that food leaves the stomach more slowly, which creates a more stabilizing effect of nutrients. It kind of, stabilizes your blood sugar because that food is then entering, or the nutrients from that food actually is entering your bloodstream a lot slower. So your body can react differently than if you hit it all at once with something that empties the stomach or digests very quickly. So the slower digestion creates a steadier release of energy into your bloodstream, which often means, one, like I already stated, you have a more stable blood sugar, but you're going to have longer lasting fullness. So you're not going to feel hungry as quickly. You're going to have fewer cravings, and you're going to have less energy crashes. All those sound like really great things. So that's why a breakfast with eggs and Greek yogurt feels very different than coffee and a muffin or cereal or a piece of toast. One creates quick stimulation and the other creates stability. And stability is something people are desperately mixing in their diets that I see a lot. So let's talk about blood sugar for a moment. And I know I talk about this a lot in my podcast, but it's because it really is so important. Many people hear phrases like blood sugar spike and they don't really understand what that means. So when we eat carbohydrates, they break down into glucose. Glucose then enters your bloodstream. Then insulin is produced and it helps move your glucose into your cells for energy. That process is normal. That's what your body was created to do. The issue is when your meals are very refined or highly processed, low in protein, low in fiber, and rapidly digest. Your blood sugar then can rise very quickly and then fall very quickly too. And that crash can feel like fatigue, brain fog, irritability, shakiness, cravings, like you need caffeine, or the craving that you want something sweet immediately because that's your body's signal telling you it needs more glucose because you crashed in your glucose levels so quickly. And this is where many people start blaming themselves. Why can't I control my cravings? But often your body is just trying to regain stable energy. It's talking to you. So protein helps with that roller coaster. It slows your digestion, it helps moderate your glucose response, and it supports a steadier energy release into your body. And the steadier the energy often feels like fewer cravings, less obsession with food. I mean, I remember I used to eat lunch and then start immediately thinking about what was for dinner that evening. You get more emotional stability. You're not hangry or irritable. You have better focus, more consistent energy. And that's really not a small thing. I know, especially as we age, we talk about being more tired or not being able to keep up or do the things we used to do. And that can often be remedied with just adjusting your protein levels and stabilizing that blood sugar. So now let's talk about fat loss, because a lot of people are dieting or looking to be healthier. A lot of people are overweight, and people don't often think of protein as part of fat loss. They usually equate it with muscle building. And that's simply not true. Protein is deeply connected with your metabolism and your body composition. And I want to explain why carefully. But so your body uses energy to digest food. And this is called the thermic effect of food. So, how much energy is required to digest what you're eating. Protein has the highest thermic effect compared to carbohydrates and fats, which are your macronutrients. So your body uses more energy digesting and processing protein. Research has shown that protein can produce a significantly higher thermic effect than either fat or carbohydrates. Again, protein is not magic, but it does support metabolism differently. So this next part is huge. When people lose weight, they do not automatically just lose fat. I mean, it would be great if we could just target fat cells in weight loss, but that's not possible. So a lot of people lose muscle. And this matters because muscle is metabolically a protective tissue. Muscle actually helps regulate blood sugar. It supports our metabolism. It improves insulin sensitivity and supports our movement and strength. So if someone diets aggressively without enough protein, especially if they're sedentary and not doing any, weight-bearing exercise, they can lose a significant amount of lean tissue or muscle, meaning you're going to weigh less, but you're going to often feel weaker, softer, more fatigued, and metabolically slower. So research consistently shows higher protein intake during weight loss helps preserve lean muscle mass, especially when it's combined with resistance training. I know some people do a lot of cardio, but they don't address that weight training. And so maybe think about adding that into your workout routine if you're not currently doing so. So the goal is simply let me rephrase that. Your goal shouldn't only be to weigh less. The goal is to lose fat while preserving strength and muscle. And that changes everything. So I want you guys to really understand muscle and aging and why all of this matters so much. So just hang in there with me, because muscle obviously isn't just about aesthetics, even though, we want our clothes to look nice on our bodies and we want to feel good and confident about ourselves. But muscle is one of the greatest predictors of healthy aging. So we're not talking about six-pack abs. We're not talking about fitness culture. We're talking about real life strength, the ability to carry your groceries, get up off the floor, travel comfortably, stay independent for as long as possible, recover from illnesses, play with your grandchildren. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass if we do not actively preserve it. So, research on sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss, shows muscle decline can begin earlier than most people realize and accelerate with age. So, this begins as early as your 30s for most people. And then once you reach your 50s, it's going to accelerate even more. So, for women, women often experience a sharper acceleration during perimenopause and menopause because your estrogen is declining, and that's going to affect your muscle maintenance recovery, your insulin sensitivity, and your body composition. This is one reason why many women suddenly feel softer or weaker, or like their metabolism changed dramatically in their 40s and 50s. Now, for men, men also lose muscle mass with age. It's often related to a gradual decrease in testosterone, reduced activity, poorer recovery, and lower protein intake. This progression for men often feels slower than it does in women because women experience hormonal changes that are very sudden and largely shifting, whereas men's is more gradual. But ultimately, both men and women experience muscle mass loss as they age. And then one of the biggest downstream effects of this is fall risk. Falls in older adults can trigger devastating health spirals. Injury, reduced mobility, more muscle loss, longer recovery times, less independence, more fear. And that's why preserving muscle mass matters. It's not vanity, it's about longevity. And I think we probably could all think of someone we know, a friend or family member, elderly, that maybe had a fall or broke a hip or, something like that happened. And we just kind of think ever since then it's kind of been, they've just struggled really with their health since then. And a lot of that has to do with muscle mass. So it is really important to a long and healthy life. But the hopeful part is it's not too late. Your body can still adapt, still improve. And whether you're 40 or 50 or 59 or 70, there's always something you can do, and you can start reversing this, or maybe not reversing it, but really improve it and build that muscle strength. And that's hopeful science. Well, for a minute, I want to speak to women here. Many women hit perimenopause and menopause and suddenly feel like nothing works anymore. Your recovery is changing, your body composition's changing, energy's changing, cravings are changing. A lot of women blame themselves, and it's honestly not your fault. These are hormonal impacts that affects your muscle retention, your insulin sensitivity, fat distribution even, recovery, metabolism. This is why protein and strength training become even more important for women in this season of life. We talked about how muscle helps improve your glucose disposal and it supports your metabolic health. But it does also support insulin sensitivity. It will support your strength and stability. So the answer often is not eat less. We think we get that, extra 15 pounds around our middle section. We're like, we need to diet. We need to eat less. We need to do this. But that's not the reality of it if you look at it. The answer is to nourish better, build strength, support muscle, stabilize blood sugar, and support recovery. Men need this too. Men experience hormonal and metabolic changes with aging too. Muscle loss, reduced recovery, more abdominal fat, changes in insulin sensitivity, and many men underestimate how little protein they're actually eating. Dinner alone is usually not enough, especially if your partner is cooking for you and you're just eating what they put on the plate, which is great. It's very thoughtful of you. But sometimes, especially for men, you might need a little more protein than what's on the plate. So your protein needs to become intentional. All right. So before we get into how we make it intentional and some goals and with some of my favorite recipes to increase protein, I want to talk about GLP-1 medications because they are so common now. And so these are medications like Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, Ozempic. We hear a lot about those. And we also hear one of the biggest side effects is, that they call it Ozempic face or Ozempic body. But, that there's one of the side effects is muscle loss, lean muscle loss. These medications can be incredibly helpful tools, but appetite reduction can unintentionally create undernourishments. And that's really what you're seeing. And if your protein intake then becomes too low, you're going to risk losing that muscle mass. And that matters tremendously because we don't just want to lower the number on the scale, right? We want a healthier body. We want a nice body composition. We want to have strength and function, and we want to have long-term health. I want to be there to see my kids get married and see my grandchildren, heck, maybe even my great-grandchildren, So when a lot of people want to lose weight, it's not just to look good in a bathing suit. They want to improve the quality of their life. So if someone is using one of these medications to help do that, your protein intake becomes even more important. So stay tuned here. We're gonna jump in now to the next segment, which is going to be like what this looks like in actual real life. So we're going to make it very practical, very simple, because this is usually where people ask, okay, but how much protein do I really need? And for a long time, I had no idea how much protein I needed. I had no idea how much protein I was even eating because it's not something I had ever tracked. So honestly, you probably need more protein than you think you do. And we're not talking bodybuilder amounts. We're not obsessing over protein. But we're going to get enough to actually support our muscle, our metabolism, our hormones, our blood sugar, our satiation, our recovery, healthy aging. And for many adults, I have a baseline recommendation that I recommend to my clients is about 30 grams of protein per meal. And honestly, most people do even better with 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, plus some protein forward snacks, because research shows that muscle protein synthesis, basically the process of repairing and building muscle tissue, responds best when adequate protein is consumed consistently throughout the day and not just all at one meal. So this becomes even more important as we age because older adults actually become a little less sensitive to protein stimulation over time, meaning the body often needs more protein to trigger the same muscle building response. That's why a tiny yogurt or granola bar is usually not enough. Your body needs meaningful nourishment. So let me give you this in a practical framework. A general evidence-based recommendation for many active adults is 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. So for the sake of ease, we'll use 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. So depending on your goals, your activity level, your age, your muscle mass, your preservation needs, research consistently supports higher protein intake for fat loss, muscle preservation, healthy aging, and physically active individuals. So if you work out a lot or hard every day, you're going to want to boost that protein intake even more. So let's talk about this in real life terms. If your goal weight is around 150 pounds, a reasonable protein target may be 105 to 150 grams of protein per day. If your goal weight's 180 pounds, you might want to look at 125 to 180 grams of protein a day. It's not about perfection. It's about consistently getting enough to support your body's needs. And honestly, most people listening are probably under eating protein significantly. So this is where a lot of people often realize, oh my gosh, I'm not even close to where I should be. So let's walk through it. So breakfast ideas. I do suggest everyone start their day with breakfast. It's great, lowers cortisol in the morning, gives you energy for the day. It'll keep you from craving, feeds your brain. You'll be clearer and be able to think better. So we have a couple of options. So 1 cup of Greek yogurt, 20 grams of protein. Throw a few nuts in there, some chia seeds, some berries. Delicious yogurt parfait for breakfast. The 2 tablespoons of chia seeds is going to be 5 grams. If you put a scoop of collagen peptides in there, that's another 10 grams. So you're at 35 grams of protein just for breakfast right there. Another breakfast option is 3 eggs, 18 grams of protein. 2 turkey sausage links is another 12 grams. Maybe a side of cottage cheese, you're at 10 grams. Right there's a 40 gram protein breakfast. Smoothies are great. If you like protein powder or you have a protein powder you like, I like whey protein isolate. The kind I use is not flavored because I can put it in anything. Then I've even put it in soup broths and different things. But they make all sorts of flavors: strawberry, chocolate, banana, whatever you like. But, a scoop of protein powder, 3/4 cup Greek yogurt, some berries, some spinach, some chia seeds, again, unsweetened almond milk or oat milk, whatever you prefer. That's going to be 35 to 45 grams of protein for your breakfast. And it's easy, it's fast, it's portable. You can usually prep it the night before and then just throw it in the blender the next morning. So for lunches, chicken bowl, I love bowls. They're like my new thing right now. So I just take my protein. So let's say a Southwest chicken bowl, and I actually made this last week. It's delicious. So 5 ounces of grilled chicken, some black beans, about half a cup of black beans, some peppers, some avocados, some salsa, some greens. Get that fiber in too. That's going to be balanced, fiber rich, blood sugar supportive. You're at 40 grams of protein. Do a turkey wrap. So high protein wraps, they make them as long as there's not a lot of fillers and stuff. Some turkey breast, cheese, veggies, put some cucumbers, zucchini. I love raw zucchini. And I don't know if you've tried it, but peel that into some ribbons and throw it in there. So it's not super thick, but you get a nice flavor from it. Have it with a side of cottage cheese, 35 to 45 grams of protein right there. Dinner. We're going to anchor our dinner meals with the protein. Maybe do a salmon plate with, 6 ounces of salmon, 38 grams of protein. Roasted vegetables, do potato, quinoa, rice if you want to get some of those healthy carbs in there. Side salad, again, leafy greens, get your fiber in. Do a protein pasta bowl. So they make high protein pastas now. I'm gluten-free. I love the brown rice and quinoa pasta. I think it has the closest, feel of real pasta. It cooks very similarly. You're not getting that gritty, mushy pasta. Put some lean ground turkey in there with some Parmesan cheese. Saute some spinach with garlic. Delicious. So you can absolutely build these satisfying meals while prioritizing protein. So I guess the takeaway too is every meal is anchored with a substantial source of protein. And we can take that concept into our snacking too. So I recommend for all of my clients to eat 3 meals and 1 protein-centered snack per day. You're like, oh my gosh, how am I doing protein in a snack too? So most snacks are mostly carbs, sugar, seed oils, processed ingredients, very little actual nourishment. So instead of snacks that just stimulate we're going to build snacks that stabilize. So some examples: cottage cheese and berries. You know, cottage cheese is giving you 25 to 30 grams of protein in and of itself. I love cottage cheese. Maybe if you don't love cottage cheese, there's a few things we can do differently with it. One of my favorite things is I put cottage cheese and some defatted peanut flour and a little bit of stevia, and I whip it up in a food processor, and it's like peanut butter pudding, and it's amazing. Greek yogurt and protein granola, you're at like 30 grams right there. Complete snack. Protein shake with some banana, 30 grams. Hard-boiled eggs and turkey roll-up, 25 to 30 grams. Tuna packet and crackers, 25 grams. Tuna is a great source of protein. Edamame and a beef stick. Just snack on that. You're at 20 to 25 grams of protein. Again, protein shakes make great snacks. You can even make like mini protein shakes. They're like half the size of a regular protein shake. Great source of protein. So when your protein intake improves, you're going to notice some things. You're going to notice less snacking. You're going to notice better fullness, more stable energy, better recovery, fewer cravings. Your body composition's going to change. You're going to notice you're getting stronger, especially if you're pairing that with weight-bearing exercise and a better blood sugar regulation. And honestly, food often becomes quieter. I remember when I really started first tracking my protein, there were some days it was like, I don't know that I can eat any more food to hit that protein goal. Like, I was so full and so satisfied that the thought of eating wasn't even a thought. Like, it was more like a chore. So, start small and build up if you really are very far below those protein levels. But just to be aware of them and where you can make some adjustments is so helpful. The constant obsession about thinking about the next meal or the snacks, gone, which is incredible. It allows you just to enjoy the moment you're in much better, but you don't build those cravings, which oftentimes can be mental, because it's not a thought in your head. You don't feel hungry all the time, which is amazing. And you don't feel out of control, which is nice and very nourishing for your body too. It's not about being more disciplined. It's just about being more aware, and your body starts finally feeling supported by the food you're eating. And I just really think that's amazing. So I want to share some of my favorite recipes with you to get that protein in. If you follow me on YouTube or TikTok, there might be some videos with some of these recipes in them. But first is my high berry protein cheesecake bowl. So we're going to take 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt, a half a scoop of vanilla protein powder, or if you're like me, I like like I said, unflavored, and then just put a little splash of vanilla in there. Some berries, cinnamon, crushed walnuts, and a drizzle of almond butter. This is going to taste like cheesecake filling. I'm not even joking. It's going to balance your blood sugar. It's going to give you a great source of protein. And it makes a great breakfast or a snack. And you can make it ahead of time and just keep it in the fridge. It's all ready to go. So this is going to be about 30 to 40 grams of protein for you. And that's great all in a meal or as a very supportive protein central snack. Like I said before, bowls, like power bowls, protein bowls, whatever you want to call them. I love them because you can get so creative with them. You can get all of the nutrients you need in a meal, and you can hit those protein goals no problem. So savory, we'll call this a savory power bowl, but it's like 5 ounces of grilled chicken, roasted sweet potatoes, great for gut health. Side note, I love sweet potatoes. An avocado, or probably half of an avocado, salad greens, pumpkin seeds, and an olive oil vinaigrette. So it's going to be like a hefty salad, pretty much. You're getting protein, you're getting fiber, you're getting healthy fats, you're getting your micronutrients in, and you are going to feel full for a great long time. This meal actually supports all functions of your body, and it doesn't just fill space. We talk about empty calories a lot, and that really is truly a thing because we're just filling the space in our bellies without nourishing our bodies so that we get all the benefits we can from that space. So, protein is not just about getting lean or building muscle or hitting your fitness goals. It's about giving your body the raw material it needs to heal, to repair, to stabilize, to recover, to age well, which I know is important to me and a lot of people I know. And we want to stay strong. And we want our body to continue functioning in the way it was designed to. Many people are not failing because they lack discipline. They are struggling because their body is under-supported. So before I close, I want to go just a little deeper because strength matters, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally too. We have to have energy in our life to serve others, the strength to show up, the capacity to live fully. Your body has been entrusted to you by God, and caring for your body is not vanity. Supporting it well is stewardship. And you are worth nourishing well. You are the only one like you on this entire planet. Don't punish yourself. Don't shrink. Don't deprive of things that are meant to nourish and support your body. We need things that are supporting. We need things that are strengthening. We need things that are caring for ourselves. And this is the kind of relationship I want you to have with health itself, with food, with nourishment, is that you deserve to be taken care of in the absolute best way possible. So if this episode helped you or taught you something new or gave you a fresh perspective, please share it with someone who needs it. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. We drop new episodes every Tuesday at 11 a.m. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Nourish with Regina, where I share practical nutrition tips and encouragement for real life living. And if you're ready to take what we've talked about here and apply it with more personalized support, you can learn all about all of my coaching options on my website. I do one-on-one coaching and group coaching. You can find that at www.nourishwithregina.com. And next week's episode is one I think you're really going to enjoy. It's titled, Your Evening Routine is Sabotaging Your Results. We're talking about sleep, late night snacking, stress, blood sugar, crashes, and simple nighttime habits that can completely change how you feel the next day. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate you. And until next time, keep nourishing your body one simple choice at a time. Bye.